Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Civil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and the gang truly is all here today. Welcome back, Damon. You're off the road.
Yes, gang, gang. Woo! Yeah, I'm home momentarily, though. We leave Saturday for the 8-day Western Caribbean Cruise Festival at Sea.
Oh,
And
nice.
our headlining stars will be Charlie Wilson, Kim, and Lettucey, along with myself and Bill Bellamy and others. So I'm looking forward to it. Did some work and relaxation at the same time.
Too bad they couldn't get any big stars, huh?
We scraped the barrel.
You did the best you could. Yeah, you did the best
Did
you
the
could.
best you could.
And Med, you are back home after being on the road, doing some vacation traveling. You good?
Yeah. No, Chicago was good. We spent a week up there. It was a good time. It was a good time. It was. I made a mistake of staying in my part of the town, like in Schaumburg, but then realizing that I'm married to somebody that lives on the south side.
Oh, and you gotta. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's quite a trek. You can't
Most of
just
my
put her on
time
a
in
plane.
Chicago was spent in the car in
Yeah,
traffic.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was. I'm like, never again. Never again.
That's
Uh,
that is funny. And Cameron is with us. I understand
more. Not anymore.
we have a problem with a power outage. So as soon as Cameron can rejoin us, I'm sure he will. He has a guest today. We're going to be talking about his story. And perhaps we should talk around this so that he can have a chance to present his story as well as be a part of to conduct the interview with his guest, Commissioner
Absolutely.
Terry. And so let us talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday effort to super serve the African American community. We do this with the stories as well as a focus on who the story is for and about whom the story is written. And sometimes it's not quite as obvious, and sometimes it just seems like, well, it's for everyone. But that doesn't leave us out of mainstream news stories, which for the most part politics is I like to write about, and Cameron gets a little bit more in detail in some of his stories, sometimes a little more local and what have you. But Cameron, are you with us? Are you good?
Power just went out in my house, but I'm good now.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't know, as a former precinct captain, maybe Damon can help you with that. I'm not sure. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, you have to call them and give them your credit card number. My power almost went out yesterday too.
Well, it's a daily thing in Texas, especially with the power grid that we're on. It's kind of tenuous at times, but yeah, I understand. I feel your pain, and as we are dealing with the 100 plus degree days here. So, Cameron, let's start with your story and talk about what you do. Talk about in today's newsletter the search for the police chief in the city of Chicago.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Chicago is finalizing its search for their next top cop, the police superintendent, and they're going about this a little differently than before. Chicago has formed this Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability, a board of citizens, people like you and I, who thoroughly vet all the folks who they believe should be our next chief of police. And this council was formed in 2021, but followed the consent decree as part of the consent decree following the Laquan McDonald shooting in
Mm,
2014. So there are three finalists. Two are coming from within CPD. One is from outside of CPD, from Michigan, who very ironically was a part of the task force that investigated CPD for the various corruptions and things of that nature.
Makes sense.
One of them is 22-year veteran Angel Novales, who is now the head of CPD's Constitutional Policing and Reform. There's 31-year veteran Larry Sneeling, a black man, who is the chief of CPD's Counterterrorism Bureau. And then there's Sean Barnes, the outsider, so to speak, who is the police chief in Madison, Wisconsin. And this person is going to be integral in helping Mayor Brandon Johnson implement this new era of police accountability. This person is going to help the culture of CPD grow, along with what the mayor believes should be this new era of policing, which is an investment in schools, an investment in young people, which what the mayor believes is supposed to reduce crime.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to talk to in a little bit in our "What's Really Going On" segment. Talk to a feature of your story, a person featured in the story, part of the committee to search for the top cop.
Yeah, I am very lucky to work closely with a colleague of mine whose name is Ramel Terry, Commissioner Ramel Terry, who is a very civically engaged citizen across Chicago, who is also the chair of the West Side NAACP. She was a part of the commission for vetting these applicants, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about what that process is like. But then also, what is this new era of policing supposed to look like? What is a superintendent going to do for us? Besides, breaking the news and giving us the monthly crime reports.
Mm-hmm.
What's that person supposed to do? Behind the scenes. So
what's the plan?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, what's the actual game plan for public safety?
Yeah. Okay, I look forward to doing that and having Commissioner Terry on. So, for those of you who are here, stick around. We'll be getting to that in just a moment, and we thank her for her participation as well as her patience. As I mentioned, some of the stories that we do are a little bit more national in scope in terms of politics and other issues. And this week it's a Donald Trump heavy because things are starting to happen in a number of different directions. His with the focus of the story in our current newsletter, the story was about his attorneys going to court today in Fort Pierce, Florida, where the judge, who was appointed by Donald Trump, by the way, is part of the case in which he is accused of taking classified documents and taking them out of the White House, taking them with him to his home in Florida, and holding on to them and not returning them to the National Archives. And so this is confidential and as I said, highly classified data that he says he's declassified it himself. I guess he just thinks good thoughts and it becomes unclassified. But it's a crazy time. So this happened this afternoon where they went to Judge Eileen Cannon and said, we want to delay it. Do we want to delay this trial? Keep punting the ball, if you will, along the way. And according to the brain trust of the Donald Trump campaign, they're hoping that they will be able to delay it so long that the election will take place. He will win re-election. And then if he is found guilty, he can pardon himself. This is their way of thinking. Ta-da, magic. It's not a real surprise to people who know that this woman was appointed by Donald Trump, that they did not come away with a decision regarding this today. How much time does it take to say yes or no? But at any rate, they have to wait for her to make her decision. It's not as if she didn't know it was coming. But in the meantime, and we talk about this in tomorrow's newsletter, about he's going to be indicted again. And this indictment, he once again announced himself. He's not waiting for anybody else to tell the Donald Trump news. He is the news reader, and he is the one to tell us that he got this letter, this target letter, that he is the focus of an investigation by the Justice Department, Jack Smith, special counsel, and what all that entails. So this is the second federal indictment, and it has to do with the insurrection of January 20th or January 6th of 2021 at Capitol Hill. So it's never a dull moment. When things really happen, they happen with a great deal of speed, and then they just kind of trail off for a little while. But then it builds up steam quickly, and that's where we are right now. And also, in this story about Donald Trump, we talk about the fact that he was trying to disqualify the sister DA in Fulton County, Fannie Willis, and get her off the case and to stop the investigation, to stop the grand jury investigation. And the state Supreme Court of Georgia, many of whom were appointed by Donald Trump, said, absolutely not. We are going forward. And so
it's so audacious that he's being indicted for obstruction. He's trying to obstruct the obstruction investigation from him obstructing.
and obstruct our view of him obstructing. Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy, Damon. And he's one of those things, I'm rubber, you're glue. What falls off of me sticks onto you. When he calls somebody out for something, it usually is something that he is guilty of.
Right.
And so watching this name calling, the witch hunt, and all of this other that has come out of this. So take a look at those stories in our politics section, as well as we have a health update every day. And this interesting from blackhealthmatters.com. An active sex life can improve your health and well-being. Tell that to your mates. And it goes into a pretty good detail. And to sum up, sex is good, very good, and multi-purpose. Read more. So take a look at that in the newsletter. As well.
Talk about the vitamins, Sybil. Talk about the vitamins.
We all know the importance of vitamin C, but there is also the importance of vitamin,
Yeah.
Come on.
By not saying it, you're really saying it.
Thank you.
And ladies,
Yes.
let me tell the ladies something for men's benefit. Scientifically, it has been established that men need to have between 20 and 24 orgasms per month for good prostate health. So if you're out here just doing it once a week, you're basically a killer. You are a homicidal maniac, and you need to step your game up. That's why that man is going to the bathroom in the middle of the night 4 or 5 times, because he's only doing it once a week.
No, he's trying to catch up with the rest of the week.
Right.
Then there's that.
Yeah.
And it's quite an embarrassing thing at this. It's quite embarrassing at this age.
And it doesn't usually take as long as it used to. So just trust me on that one. We also we have some great information that comes out of this particular article and in the What You Need to Know newsletter. And Coy Malone is our social justice contributor. She talks about a Black man, and no, it's not Lavelle Crawford, a Black man who was harassed by a Karen while fishing at his own neighborhood spot, the pond, if you will, the body of water where he was in his neighborhood. She wanted to take down their license plate numbers and put all this on social media, and she did it at her own demise. And the people that she worked for saw it, and they fired her.
Yep.
And so that is that particular story. And of course, the great Katrina Kraft gives us tax tips on Tuesdays. This will make purchasing a home more doable if you are in that mindset and looking to buy a house.
I would have loved for that Karen to have talked to Lavelle Crawford. By the time Lavelle Maurice Crawford got finished with Karen, boy, the fish would have been sitting in the water like this.
and which one do we really want to go with?
Right.
But Lavelle used to regale us with tales of going fishing in his neighborhood in the area. And so he's the first person that came to mind, but this gentleman also tells his story. And so those are some of the things. We also have the Little No Black History Fact. We have HBCU Corner. We're hoping to have a great announcement about that and a project that we're going to be working on soon. And it is absolutely free to subscribe to our newsletter. Please go to SybilWilkes.com. Give us your name and your email address. We'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. If you don't, let us know. We'll change some things. But also, think about this. When you get your newsletter, don't just say, oh, my newsletter came in. Please open it. the open rate also goes a very long way with us as we are trying to sell this newsletter. And
Oh, you can tell? Okay.
yeah. Oh, yes.
My bad.
Please. Now that you know, we seek to inform and empower you. So let us
My
inform.
bad. No.
Yeah. Open.
Got it.
Thank you. Sesame.
About to go through all my old emails for the last 90 days.
Keep popping them.
Please open them. Khameron, let's move to the what's really going on segment. And let's continue your conversation about the top cop search in Chicago. And in the newsletter, you also promised to unpack what this newest era of policing is supposed to look like with your guest. And please introduce Commissioner Terry.
Hello, Commissioner Terry. Good evening. Coming to us decked out in your very elegant Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated regalia. Thank you for having us.
Regalia.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Ramel, unfortunately, we do not have the time to talk about all of the things that you do for the Black community in Chicago and across the nation proper. But can you please just give us a little bit of background of what it is that you do?
Yes, thank you, Khameron, and thank you to all of you all on the show this evening. So a little bit about myself, lifelong Chicago and very proud West Sider, and currently I'm here to speak about the recent superintendent search that we just completed. We spent about 119 days on this process. We had 120 to complete it, and tons of hours. And I'm happy to say that we have come to 3 finalists that are currently under consideration for by Mayor Brandon Johnson. This is a historic moment because this is the first time a community commission of this type has even been formalized in the city of Chicago. This is something that people have been fighting for since the Harold Washington administration. So I'm very honored and humbled to be a part of this experience, to engage community as well as have the best candidates put forth to Mayor Johnson, where we knew we took everything from officers, from so many groups that had insight in this process that has never had, this type of engagement before.
Now, Ramel, I know you've been tapped by NBC News to speak on this. You've been tapped by CBS to speak on this. But here on the Sybil Wilkes Show, we finna get real. All right.
Okay.
What in the world is this police chief going to do for us? What are they supposed to do for us?
Well, public safety in the city of Chicago is a very big deal. While I love that you all cover national things that are happening nationally, oftentimes Chicago is the topic of conversation, but not in the best light. And so I am proud to say that we have 3 stellar, very qualified candidates who can really change the trajectory of what we see as it relates to public safety in the city of Chicago. And what I mean by this is each of them have come to the table understanding the need to be visionary, the need to be innovative, and being able to establish trust where trust has never existed between community and police, as well as rebuild any trust that has been eroded. And they also have the idea about what it requires to truly support officers so that they have a force that is on the streets serving all Chicagoans equitably. And so that will be very important because before now, the community had no input, even officers had no input in who the next superintendent will be. And so we've been entrusted and people have supported this process. Even the president of the FOP has given us kudos, which was a big surprise to many.
That's saying something.
Right.
Right. That's really
saying something. So, we're very confident that this next superintendent will have a pretty solid foundation because he won't necessarily have any ties to the administration. And so he truly will be set out to do the job that he is appointed to do, depending on who the mayor decides.
So, and I'll ask you this, and then I'll hand it off to Sybil, Damon, and Med. Policing is one of the, if not the major issue affecting Black Americans currently. And there are Black mayors across the country, Mayor Karen Bass, Mayor Tashura Jones. I mean, love him or hate him, Mayor Eric Adams, who are all interacting with their police in the way that they deem best for their citizens. And like, what sets Brandon Johnson's police agenda apart from that? And how is a superintendent supposed to communicate with the mayor in making that happen?
Well, the mayor is the CEO of the city of Chicago, so he and the police superintendent will work very closely together. But what I will say is that I'm proud that Mayor Johnson has led by the example that we would like to see in this sort of process, where he has respected what we have done as a commission. He did not try to leverage any political will or, come out against our process. Even when we did face challenges from city council members, the mayor came out in support of our process and stated how he respected and will continue to respect, this process. And he has no problem whatsoever with choosing who the community has suggested are the top 3 candidates to serve. So I think that in itself is demonstrating, again, a way that we can be optimistic in what we will see from Mayor Johnson in his selection and the way that in which they work together, because it won't be how we've seen in previous iterations of administrations where someone out the blue gets selected and no one knows who this individual is. No vetting was done by the community. And so I just think we're, on the right path to see some positive change in the city of Chicago.
So we're truly in Renaissance times where the big bureaucracy that is CPD in all of its structures is trying to communicate with community, trying to be held accountable by community and residents and stakeholders and taxpayers of the city of Chicago to try and do the right thing. Are you hopeful?
I'm very hopeful, because one thing that myself and my colleague, President Driver, and we both led this process that we share is that community and police actually want the same thing. If there was anything that we learned throughout the duration of this past 119 days, is that community and police want the same thing out of the superintendent and want the same things for themselves, because police officers are a part of the community. So they reside in some of the communities that are facing challenges. So they want to feel supported by the next superintendent. They want to have the resources. They want to feel respected. And those are the same things that community members are asking for: equity, respect, support, and to feel seen.
Of the 3 candidates, Commissioner, do you have a favorite? And if so, why?
Tell us.
You say, do I have a favorite? So not necessarily a favorite, but it's interesting. Someone else just recently asked the same question. There is someone who I thought did an excellent job of explaining certain strategies that they will employ to address workforce allocation issues, also the health and wellness of officers, and even consent decree compliance, because that's a very important piece. And they have a wide breadth of experience, which I was very impressed by, because there are certain things that you don't even know, about officers. Surprisingly, they are very, well educated. They are very knowledgeable. They have experience in a various arenas. And I think this individual,
police department,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. And so it was just, this individual just stood out in that regard with, like I said, the vast amount of experience, the education, and then just some of the strategies that they would employ. And you could visually see how that could work in a city like Chicago.
May I ask how many people were considered? How many did you take applications? Did you seek out applications? How did that work? And something that's near and dear to my heart, were there any women considered for the position?
Yes. So we did put out a application. We had a brochure that aligned with that, which outlined sort of, what the City of Chicago Police Department, the makeup of it, what the City of Chicago makeup is, the qualifications, the various things that we were looking for in these candidates. We received 54 applications, which was phenomenal. We had about, I believe, around 11 women who applied for this opportunity, and about 32 of the candidates were either within CPD currently or had some form of affiliation with CPD. So, and 54 applications is like unheard of. And this is the first time, I would say, in the history of this process that this has ever happened. And I think it's also a testament to how transparent we were, right? In casting a net wide across the nation. So we did have people from other states and even another country apply for this opportunity.
And the mayor will take a look at these three. If he doesn't find a choice to his liking, then you go back to the drawing board. And is that with the same group of people that you went through before?
So we definitely will have to go back to the drawing board. As a commission, we will have to determine what that process will look like, because we haven't planned out that far in the event of that. But that will be a conversation that we would all have to agree upon how we want to proceed forward. So it won't necessarily be going back to the pool of candidates that we've already interviewed. It may, it could be opening it up again and see who decides to apply.
I'm sorry, Matt, I think I cut you off there. Oh, okay.
No, I was stretching my neck. Please continue.
There are a couple of issues within the police department that I'm aware of as a Chicagoan living, about 1,000 miles away. And one of them is the mental health care of the police department. A number of suicides or deaths that are believed to have been suicides have occurred within the police department over the last several years. And especially seemingly there's an age range in which or maybe a time period in which they have worked for the Chicago Police Department. Is there any conversation about that amongst your candidates about what you can do to help the mental welfare of that department?
Yes, there have been things that's what really helped these three finalists stand out is they were really focused on getting to the root issue of what's happening with officers, because yes, it definitely can be, like they said, it could be something mental happening, but how about we address workforce allocation issues so we're not taking days off and where people are having to be away from their families? How about we stabilize the supervisory role where people are reporting to the same supervisor on a more consistent basis? And with that sort of relationship, that individual will then know that officer and may be able to do better with checking in, because if they're seeing them on a day-to-day basis, if you don't look the same, if you're not coming in with that same type of energy, I now can check in with you a little bit more better, which has been a challenge in this department. And so I think those sorts of things, those innovative ways to think about how we address mental health of officers has been very important. And these candidates have shared those sorts of thoughts.
And what about being in the neighborhood? And because, let's be honest, there are a lot of people who benefit from what the Chicago Police Department can give them in terms of benefits, in terms of a lifestyle, but they don't live in the city of Chicago. Was that also a part of the conversation?
Yes, because as a requirement for CPD, you are supposed to be a resident of the city of Chicago. And that's really with any city agency, right? So there was even a mention of how city employees are oriented outside of the department, and how do they bring that type of orientation or onboarding to the department so they feel more included into the city overall and not just a silo department.
I'm going to ask Khameron if you have one final question, and then we're going to let you go. I really appreciate the time, and it's very nice to meet you. Thank you so much for this information. And should there be another round, I hope that you'll come back and talk to us again.
Oh, I would love to. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think, Ramel, before you go, these are pretty new terms for us. Can you just define in your words what community policing looks like, or
Is
what
it
it's
like an episode of The Chi?
Yeah.
No, ideally, community policing is really where there is an established relationship, and where every interaction with officers is not about enforcement, but there is a genuine desire to build community with the individuals that you will be serving, right? So, what that looks like, getting back to the beat, officers getting engaged, knocking on doors, or just walking through the community saying hello, so that when something does happen, it's a better interaction versus the only time I see you is when someone called you to be here. And that's not necessarily the best type of engagement. And so community policing is truly what it sounds like, engaging with community prior to a problem, so that if there's anything happening within the neighborhood, the community can support you in your efforts versus a us versus them sort of scenario.
Got it.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much,
so
Commissioner
much.
Terry. Looking
Yes.
magnificent in your crimson, and we hope to see you again very soon.
And
Thank you all so much.
I might see you in Indianapolis. Are you going to be there for the Delta?
I am not going to Naptown, so I would have loved to have been there to have met you in person.
Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you will join us again. I appreciate it.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I've
Commissioner
never
Terry.
met Sybil in person.
Oh,
I'm sorry, that just hit me in the head. I'm like, wait, I've never met you in person either, Sybil.
that's true.
That's bananas.
That is true. And Cameron and I have only been in contact one time. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I've met
amazing,
Sybil.
but virtual.
Whereas Sybil and I have 3 kids.
Yeah. and we've grown up together. So,
Yes.
thanks. Good job, Cameron. Thank you very much. And good job on the article as well.
Yeah, she was very prepared and knowledgeable. That was a great interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Ramel.
I think it's one of the most difficult things, that job, the police, especially in Chicago, and actually in any major city. But it's a thankless job, and it's a job that you really can't do what you really want to do. Because one of the things I was thinking about asking, but I really didn't want to, because it was just one of those questions where it's like, to deal with the crime in the city, you're gonna have to deal with us. You know what I'm saying? So the question is like, how do you deal with the criminal activity without being heavy-handed on us?
Right.
And it's one of the hardest things for any superintendent to figure out. It's like no one has figured it out yet, because it's either, okay, we're not gonna be as heavy-handed, and then the crime might go up. Okay, we're gonna get heavy-handed, crime comes down, but you're gonna have a whole bunch of complaints and things like I think Cameron and Damon, do you remember that special unit, the special guns unit that was doing like lying about things, but they were getting the job done? Like the guns were down in the city, but the minute they broke it up because they were doing some illegal activities trying to get the people off the street, crime started going back up again, and the guns were flooding the streets again. So it's very difficult to try and solve one problem without treating us a certain kind of way. So
Well, and then it depends on who us is. There are a lot of respectful and respectable citizens in the area that respect the police officer and abide by the laws and rules. And then there's a whole other element that twerks on the hood of the cars. So, it's I wanted to ask, are they bringing back Officer Friendly? That was going to be my next question.
I thought about that too. I was like, I really wanted to talk
It does
about
sound
that.
like it.
And it sounds like something ridiculous from my childhood, but when you talk about community policing, that was a part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And kids don't know about that these days. They certainly don't know that he used to come, or he was a person that you could go to if presented in any kind of danger. So,
and he had a coloring book.
and sometimes, if you were lucky, you took some of the plastic handcuffs home to your parents.
Your parents use plastic? Nice.
They didn't have safe words back then.
Right.
Sorry.
Right.
Get out.
Let's move to trending topics. And Damon, you already mentioned that you are going. You're headed out to sea. Where else might you be headed?
At the end of the conclusion of the cruise, one day I'm home. The next day I'm in Martha's Vineyard for 3 weeks.
Oh, this is it's August. It'll be August.
It's time. Yeah, I come back on the 30th, leave on the 31st, and we have a little issue in the vineyard this year. There's a cultural vulture promoter that is unscrupulously, and I couldn't get it all out because I was thinking, we have the Martha's Vineyard Comedy Fest. He's doing the Martha's Vineyard Festival of Laughs. And it starts on the last day of our festival. And he's bringing all of our friends, including one of which who was actually on our festival more than 4 times and accepted the gig. So it's really kind of a thing. George Wallace brought this individual to the show.
Of course he did.
Yeah, and then he warned us, like, I don't know, he's sniffing around. He's going to try to do something. And lo and behold, here it is. So, I mean, it won't affect us in that way, but it's a lot of confusion that people think it's part of ours. So they're emailing us and asking us where the tickets for other individuals that are not on our shows because it's not our show and the name is so close. And it's unfortunate because this guy, he has a long-standing history of appropriating the culture in 70s soul, blues, gospel, but he is not Black, and the money will not be going to a Black person at the end of the day. He's the Walmart of promoters. So I just want to get that out there. But other than that, everything's good. I have my city winery is this Thursday before I leave, and it is completely sold out. Thank you, Chicago.
Nice.
It's been sold out for a few days. But the last one of that series will be August 22nd when I return.
Nice. Okay, so give us the difference. Yours is your comedy festival in Martha's Vineyard.
It's Martha's Vineyard Comedy Fest, and it's marthasvineyardcomedyfest.com.
Okay.
And the other one is not that.
Okay.
Won't even say what it is, but it's not that.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Wow.
That's the difference. And so I know that you're gonna have a great time and you're gonna kill it. So that is great.
It's gonna be awesome.
And I hope that you will be able to open up the laptop every once in a while and join us.
I'll be here every Tuesday. Well, next Tuesday if we're at sea, maybe not.
Right.
But we'll see.
Understood.
Right.
Don't be testing the capabilities of the ship's Wi-Fi. You know that's never a good idea.
Well, it better work at $227 a week. It better work.
Okay. Damon, tell us about the comedy month that you all are working on. A salute to comedy.
So Steve Capers, who's had the brain thrust to do the Martha's Vineyard Comedy Fest, had the vision of starting it 12 years ago. This is our 12th annual, 13th year because of COVID. He trademarked the term Black Comedy Month, just like there's a Black Music Month. And so Black Comedy Month is where we salute and highlight some of the greats of comedy, the pioneers in the field, as well as our contemporaries. And this year in particular, we're saluting those that have done the festival but have gone home. We have at least 5 comedians, I believe, if I can get them all correctly. Stan the Man from Chicago, comedian Kool-Aid, Marcus Combs from Chicago, Raj G, and most recently David Arnold, who have all passed. So we have Hollywood stars. The normal ones are like the direct replica of Hollywood, but those who have gone on, we give a silver star and we present it to their family, and it'll go up on the wall in the theater throughout the festival and for good. So, but it's all about laughter. So it's giving people the thing. The niche that we've cut is that our shows are on weeknights, except for the now Friday show that we added, because people go to the vineyard and they rent houses and they sit around with each other, and you look up and what are we gonna do today? You're gonna come see some comedy. So we tried not to conflict with the Martha's Vineyard Film Festival on weekends, the Jazz Fest and other things. That's why we tried to stay in our lane. Now the Vulture is coming in, so it is what it is. I wish all the artists well. I hope their show do well for them. They get paid all their money. I don't know where they're going to stay because if they haven't booked lodging yet, their flyer is false advertising because I don't know where they're going to sleep because this place gets really busy. So just looking forward to everything, especially the City Winery this Thursday, so I can set it off at the house at home and then take it to the road for about a month, and I'll be back at Riddles after that.
Nice. Well, I wish you a lot of luck. I'm really excited.
Thank you for that opportunity to express that as well.
Of course. I want to get it straight from you and let folks know what's really going on. It's hacking season, gentlemen. Did you know that? I had I have text groups, and one of my girlfriends told us today that she had been hacked. Her Amazon account had been hacked. And
Oh Lord.
yes,
Oh no, yeah, that's a big one.
and the credit card was associated with her bank account, and they wiped her out.
Changing my password right now.
That's exactly right. That's the first thing I said, Khameron. It's really it's distressing how common this is, and it's not just Amazon. Another friend said that she got hacked via Facebook. Someone tried to let me finish this. First friend had used her debit card because of some other issues with her credit cards, and she said she used it on Amazon, and now she has had to cancel everything, called the bank, and they bought gift cards, and they
Right.
were so bold that they sent Amazon sent her copies of these gift cards, and they used her name. Happy birthday
Oh,
from blah 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 person
Mm.
whose account this was. And another friend said that she got hacked via Facebook, and she said they kept trying and trying, and and asking for her to accept their friendship, and through Facebook. And so she said, I kept denying and denying, and finally they got in, changed the name on her account, removed her email and phone number. Her information is gone forever, and some clown has now taken over her space
wow.
on Facebook.
That's awful.
Yeah, my wife's Instagram got hacked, and they had the audacity to find her WhatsApp and offer a ransom. They said, "We'll give you your page back if you pay us." And
Wow.
she was like, "I don't use Instagram like that," and started a new page. But I think we should take a page from the hackers book and maybe start buying gift cards or prepaid cards to apply to your online sites
Yeah.
with a limit, and that way they can't wipe out your account.
Right.
I think it would be smart. Plus, I also saw a meme where they said they do that for trial subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
So once the trial runs out, they can't bill you monthly because there's nothing on the card. So that might be something we can help our seniors do, especially because they're so susceptible to the hackers, and the hackers are so tricky. And now the AI can duplicate your voice and tell your grandmother that you're
Right.
stuck in a hole in the ground. And this is so much going on, man. We got to try to stay either with them or a step ahead of that. But I think everybody should think about getting prepaid cards and apply them to your online sites for your debits.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I think we should do a show about that too, Yolanda, and use a part of that, the basis of what Damon has told us, as information to share with people. Because it's just when you think, you're like, oh, change your password. I know it's a pain in the butt, but here we are. This is what we have to do.
And sometimes it's too late to change your password. And they're so cunning and convincing that they'll get you on the line and they'll call with numbers and sites that look just like your bank, and they'll talk you through it until you eventually surrender your information. And if you do that, your bank is not responsible and they will not refund your money. I had that happen to someone as well.
Yeah, that's another thing. And so you call the bank and say, did you just send me? No. And you go through and there's something not quite right about the spelling or just the placement. Somehow it just seem a little off to you. But
it's like Bank of America.
Right.
Right.
Look for a little typo, bankofamerica.com.
Right. Exactly. So please be careful out there, and let's do our due diligence not to let the bad guys win all through this. In Chicago, it's not so bad from what I understand.
Not at all.
As far as the temperatures are concerned. Now, you guys did have like 13 tornadoes the other day.
Yeah, that was really terrifying.
It was crazy, Khameron.
Yeah, I was working in the office, and it's just surrounded by glass windows. And I was hosting people, and they were like, "Yeah, what's the tornado policy of this building?" And I'm like, "I don't know. We all gonna die. Like, I don't know."
Grab a couch.
Right.
On that one night, I think it was Wednesday night. They believe that there were somewhere in the area of 10 to 13 tornadoes near O'Hare. And did you know the policy? If there is a bad storm coming through and you're on the plane, you stay on the plane. They don't take you off the plane.
Mm.
The airline did not do this to a friend of mine who was on the plane. So you got to figure out what the policy is. What's your plan if a tornado does? I was saying hurricane. If a tornado does come in, and also the people who were just out, just because these just grew up out of nowhere. They spawned out of nowhere, and don't be angry when the weather people are doing their jobs. And I'm sorry if you missed your program. You lived if you got the
Yeah.
information.
Right.
Yeah, they were all over our phones, and everything was, the alerts kept coming through your phone. And I was concerned, but I wasn't concerned because I think tornadoes know better. They hit the outlying area. If you're in the city, you ain't never heard about a tornado on 78th and Eberhard. Never heard about did you see that Jimmy got swept up on Halsted? Never happened. It's more of a trailer park area, more of the it's always those counties we only hear about during the weather alerts,
Right,
like
right.
DuPage County. And yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Plainfield, stay in the tornado.
Wow. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
tornado alley right there.
yeah, exactly.
There's one. And then there's the extreme temperatures. Arizona, the state capital, suffered from the longest heat wave in 50 years. Phoenix broke its record, the 19th day in a row of 110 degrees plus.
Mm.
They've already had 12 heat-related deaths this year, and 55 other deaths are under investigation. I don't know how much more you need to determine that this was heat-related, but trust and believe they're doing it in Maricopa County. And you can't just leave this country and hope to go somewhere else, because Europe is also suffering. Italy is one of those where they're having to go through the 107-degree temperatures in Rome, set a new record. Beijing has topped its record for high temperature days in a year with 27 days. The previous record was in 2000 when there were 26 high temperature days that year. So everywhere we go, we should be having the discussion about climate change and what this
Definitely, because even the oceans are heated up. I heard a report recently that typically, if there's a spike, it may be a percentage of a degree,
Mhm.
maybe, or as much as best one. But this year, that one of the oceans is 4 or 5 entire degrees higher than
Yeah.
normal, which is going to, not bode well for hurricane season because the warmer water and the fish that are not used to it. So
And the what was it? Stephen Hill was talking about these the other day. I forget what I'll remember it. But you're right; it's affecting the sea life as well as the seas themselves. Yeah. New life in the Tupac Shakur murder investigation. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department has said that a search warrant has been served in Henderson, Nevada, yesterday as part of the ongoing Tupac Shakur homicide investigation.
if there's any iota of evidence still around from Tupac's murder, then that person needs to go directly to the electric chair and kill himself.
Right.
Because you had plenty of time to get rid of it. And it's a shame that Tupac and Biggie are gone the way they left. But I don't even think Biggie would still be here anyway, because his diet was so terrible. He had cheese, eggs, Welch's grape, and T-bone steaks for breakfast. So they think
he was the Elvis of his time, right? Yeah. As of right now, no arrests have been made. And as I was going to say, Tupac was gunned down September 7th. He died 6 days later, September 13th of 1996, after being shot.
Wow, that was so long ago.
How crazy is that?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. What in the name of Dennis Rodman is going on in North Korea? This has to be the most troubled soldier ever. A U.S. soldier was being sent home from South Korea, blended in with a group of tourists bound for the demilitarized zone, the DMZ. He bolted. He ran for the border, not the border. He ran for the border into North Korea and was picked up by the North Korean police. His name is Private Second Class Travis King. I don't know. Was not wearing handcuffs, but he was escorted by military police as far as they could go. Was just a security checkpoint at the Incheon airport. And they say that he ran over, and now he is in control by the North Korean authorities. So maybe Dennis will go over and he'll get him sprung. I don't know. But it's just crazy. I heard that this morning. I was like, where do they do that? But
Right.
they said he's a troubled young man. He was being sent back to the U.S. for some bad behavior, and now I guess he figured it can't be any worse.
It can.
He figured
Really
wrong.
terrible place.
It can.
Yeah. This is where you want to push the
That's not where you
envelope
want
there.
to go.
No.
not where you wanna
I mean, he'll either be a prisoner or a symbol of defection, and they'll make him a hero. Like, see, no one wants to be in the West,
Right.
but
Yeah. You run to the border, and you ain't gonna get no Taco Bell either. So
hey,
like, what the world? These are the kind of friends we all need. This is why we're friends with Damon, because he is a man who is on the move, gonna make big things happen in the comedy world. He's gonna be like Magic and Cookie Johnson. Damon, Mr. and Mrs. Williams are going to be the next Magic and Cookie Johnson. They have their kids and their friends all with them as they are cruising the European waters on their yachts.
Who's doing that? Oh yeah, Magic and Cookie.
Yeah, I always look forward to that every year. Every year the pictures start popping up. You see Magic.
What do you do with your invitation?
Man. Oh. If I'm going there, I'm probably working. You know,
Right.
I'm probably working the
Yeah.
event.
I mean, say that again. You know, right? Yeah.
I would need a month notice just so I could fix my face for every time I saw EJ.
Well, funny you should mention, because EJ and the kids, EJ, Andre, Elisa, and their families joined Grandma and Grandpa for the yacht vacation. They welcome children and grandchildren on their chartered boat, the Phoenix II, as they continue their epic tour of Mediterranean ports. He said, Cookie and I are excited to have our kids, Andre, EJ, Elisa, our daughter-in-law, Lisa, our grandkids, Gigi and Avery, join us on the yacht. Magic and Cookie look great. They are living their best lives.
They do.
They do this every year, and it's like in sections. So
yeah,
they're in the kids part of it.
Right.
And Michael was there for a couple of days.
Right.
Sam is there for like a week and a half.
And Sam is always invited.
Every year he goes with his wife. And then I think this year the new person I saw in there was Judge Mathis.
Judge Greg Mathis.
He was out there this year.
So you're right. It was Michael Jordan and his wife Yvette, Sam and LaTanya Jackson, Judge Greg and his wife Linda Mathis, and John and Vicky Palmer. I believe Vicky Palmer is a former Coca-Cola executive, and
Makes
John
sense.
Palmer is a politician or a political aide.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So
and in one of those photos, EJ had on all mesh. It was. I don't even know where you find that much mesh. He's so tall and big.
Well,
he's like his tall as daddy.
Yeah, he had the silky Indian silky weave. It's a lot going on.
Oh my!
Look it up, camera. I see your face. Like I said, you have to fix your face before you look at it, because it's just a lot. It has nothing to do with his choices or his gender identity or any of that. It's the outfit. It's a lot.
Right.
He's a big man. He's a very big man.
I don't know what his pronouns are.
Yeah, I'm not sure what his pronouns are either. You're right. But he, she, they went through a drastic weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
I think they may have had surgery and that kind of thing, but fierce now. Absolutely fierce.
Wow, that is a tall person.
That's a tall drink of water there, huh?
Tall person.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's a good way to put
it. On the low, EJ got fine as hell. EJ look like a big cookie. You gotta see the pictures, Cam. You gotta see the pictures.
Oh my gosh!
No, it was trending. It was a viral trend. That EJ got fierce, as you put it.
Yes, very, very, very much so. Have you guys seen Survival of the Thickest on Netflix?
The whole thing.
Did you like it?
I thought it was hilarious.
Michelle, What is Michelle's last name? She's a comedian.
Well, it's like almost it's like French. It's like
Yeah,
Beaumont,
yeah,
like
it's like
Beaumont
a
or something like Beaumont or something like that. Beaumont.
yeah.
Yeah.
She was in First Wives Club on the BET Plus network. Buteau, I believe
Buto.
it is.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Um,
she made that up. Go ahead.
if you
No,
have not seen this
she's right.
Netflix show, and I'm not sure if we can watch if we are in support of the actors and the writers,
Mm.
but Michelle Buteau stars. This is her creation. This is
Oh,
her TV show she created and is starring in. It's called Survival of the Thickest. It is so good. It is. I don't know if Lonnie was supposed to post about it, but I added on. It is binge worthy watching. It is
yeah.
really good.
Me and my wife rocked right through. I was like, it's over. Oh
I
wow.
know. I
I was like,
know.
she
I was
just
like,
got there, and it's
exactly.
over.
And you can end it whenever you want. And it's not that it's not a successful ending every time,
Right.
but it's just so quick. It just
Yeah.
it's really good. So
Well,
I
and everyone, I guess if we're watching programs, we need to watch Dion Cole's Average Joe.
yeah,
Phenomenal. It is a
really.
phenomenal show on BET Plus, and that's my brother. So I definitely want to
No,
put that out
definitely have
there
to
if you
start
watch
watching
this.
that with wife too.
And I
Definitely.
want to send some love to
I
Dion.
think we could watch the stuff that's already done.
Yeah, let them get their
Is that the
check.
rule?
So I need to find
Yeah.
out. You tell me. You might be a member, and I don't know how we can support you. Like I don't know if I should be going to see the Mission Impossible movie, or I know I'm probably not going to go see Barbie. But
I'm so intrigued by
No.
it.
I
It's
don't
hilarious.
know.
But I spoke to briefly to Ali Leroy, who wrote Everyone Hates Chris and several other things with Bernie Mac and such. And he said what the public could do is for 5 days cancel your subscriptions to some of the streamers. He mentioned some,
Oh,
Really hard.
and that would at least signify that the public is supporting the movement. So I mean, if you must watch, just for 5 days, you can resubscribe after 5 days. But if we in mass were to all cancel our streamers and make a solidarity, but I think they need to organize that where
got
it makes sense because people will go back in that 5 days, and it may not be an impactful thing if we don't all do it as once. But that was
it.
one of the recommendations.
Good. Thank you so much for that. Because
Because I
I
keep
really
my original payment will it go up? Yeah.
probably because I got a notice from Peacock that they are going up.
It had to go up, and I'm
Yeah.
like, do I
Well,
get
if you support the unions, everything's going to go up because if they
How do they pay?
if they give the successions, then the concessions, I should say, they're going to, of course, pass that on to the public. But if you support the arts and the artists, I mean, because some of the things that they're trying to propose are ludicrous, like AI scanning your face and pay you for one day's work and
Right.
use your
And then
likeness
that's it for
forever.
perpetuity. Right.
Yeah, for as background actors, and background work is what keeps people afloat in Hollywood and maybe even Atlanta as well.
Yeah.
Extras, like I remember when we were filming our show Laugh Tonight on Urban Flicks, we had to pay audience members because it was during the day and no one could take off work, so we had to pay them. But those were like college students and elderly and all type of people who live off extra work. So it's a lot to it. I know it's hard to grasp from a layman standpoint, but there's a lot to it. And if your fee went up $2 more and somebody else could get health coverage, and it's your favorite program actor, then it's worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot to consider this in support
Yep.
of those that we are friends and family. Absolutely. Let us close out with our daily inspiration. And this is Yogi's Jewel. Being responsible makes you mature. It's not your age. Okay. So being responsible makes you mature. It's not how old you are.
Absolutely.
My mind's telling me no.
Oh, dear God.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, Khameron. Thanks, everyone.